I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. I know you've been praying for the breakthrough, but all you see is the breakdown. But can I tell you something that will shake your soul back into position? What you're feeling right now, this pain, this pressure, this heaviness, it is not the end of your story. It's a chapter in the process, because God's plan is bigger than your current pain. You see, you've been measuring your life by the wound, but God is working through the warfare. He's not ignoring you. He's preparing you. He's pulling you through the fire so you come out stronger, wiser, purified, anointed. Don't let the pain make you think it's over. Don't confuse the pressure with punishment. This is divine preparation for something greater. So hold on, because what's coming is bigger than what you've been through. Pain is a setup, not a setback. That's a hard truth to accept when you're in the middle of the storm, when the weight of your trial feels unbearable and your prayers seem to echo back in silence. You look at your life and all you can see is brokenness. Broken dreams, broken relationships, broken plans. But what if I told you that pain is not the end of your purpose? It's actually the beginning of it. God is strategic. He doesn't waste anything. Not your tears, not your confusion, not your heartbreak. Everything you're going through is working in alignment with a divine blueprint. You may not see it now because pain blurs perspective. Pain makes you question your value. It makes you doubt your future. It makes you wonder if you heard God right. But pain is not a punishment. It's preparation. Think about Joseph in the Bible, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. If you looked at his life at any one of those painful moments, you would have called it a setback. But God called it a setup. Every painful place Joseph went through was positioning him for the palace. The pit was part of the plan. The prison was part of the path. Without those painful places, he never would have reached the promise. Your situation might not make sense right now. You might feel like life took a wrong turn, like everything is falling apart. But God is not panicking. He's planning. He's moving the pieces behind the scenes. What feels like a delay to you is actually God setting the stage for something bigger than you imagined. Clarity. Pain often disguises itself as failure, but it's really the fertilizer for growth. When you're hurting, you're still becoming. Sometimes God has to break the version of you that was built on comfort so he can birth the version of you that's built on calling. The pain pushes you into purpose. It stretches your faith. It humbles your ego. It silences the noise and tunes your ear to his voice. If life never hurt, you'd never learn how to trust. If things always went your way, you wouldn't need to depend on God. But pain forces surrender. And that's where true transformation begins. The enemy wants you to believe that the pain is proof God has left you. but it's the opposite. It's often the evidence that God is closest. He is the potter, and you are the clay. The molding hurts. The shaping presses in on all sides. But the process isn't to destroy you. It's to form you. Pain is not a wall. It's a doorway. Clarity. It's an invitation to walk through something that will make you more than you've ever been before. Look back on your life. The most powerful parts of your story didn't come from your comfort. They came from your challenges. Growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens in endurance. Every time you didn't give up, every time you chose to believe even when it hurt, you were being set up for something greater. God is not reactive. He's intentional. He knew the end from the beginning. He saw the pain before it ever reached you, and He still allowed it, not to destroy you, but to deepen you. To grow your faith roots so deep that no storm can shake you. To strip away what's not eternal so you can hold on to what truly matters. To teach you that your value isn't in your victories, but in your perseverance. Pain may be present, but so is purpose. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are being set up. Set up to testify. Set up to walk in healing. Set up to minister from the place you once bled. Set up to bless others with the wisdom that came from your wounds. Clarity. That's why the enemy is attacking you so hard. Because there's glory waiting on the other side of your pain. It's time to shift your perspective. Stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is God birthing in me through this?" Because something is being formed. It's bigger than your current understanding. It's deeper than what you see right now. And yes, it hurts. But God never said purpose would be painless. He just promised it would be worth it. You may not be able to see the full picture now, but keep walking. Keep praying. Keep believing. This pain won't last forever. But what God is doing in you because of it, that will. God specializes in turning crucifixions into resurrections, in turning ashes into beauty, in taking what the enemy meant for evil and using it for good. You're not going to stay here. You're passing through this pain. You're transitioning into something greater. The world may only see your struggle, but heaven sees your setup. Angels are assigned to you. Grace is covering you. Mercy is following you. And favor. Favor is waiting for you on the other side of this pain. Don't give up now. We want clarity. You're closer than you think. You're on the edge of breakthrough. Your current pain is not your final chapter. It's the middle of your miracle. So wipe your tears, square your shoulders, and remind your soul, this is not the end. This is the setup. The pain is temporary, but the purpose is eternal. God is not done with you, not even close. He's just getting started. God hides purpose inside of pressure. It's a truth that doesn't always feel good, but it's always real. Pressure is uncomfortable. It squeezes. It stretches. It exposes every crack and weakness you've tried to hide. And yet, in God's hands, pressure is not punishment. It's process. It's His way of pulling out the greatness inside of you that comfort would never reveal. When we think of purpose, we imagine clarity, confidence, celebration, standing in the spotlight with everything falling into place. But the truth is, before the spotlight ever comes, there is struggle. There is a hidden season, a crushing season. God often conceals the most powerful purpose in seasons where you feel the most powerless. Think about the olive. It's not until it's crushed that the oil flows. The potential is always there, but the pressure is what releases it. And the same goes for you. There is oil in you. Anointing, calling, divine destiny. But it doesn't pour out until life squeezes you. Until pressure forces you into prayer. Until situations strip away your distractions and press you into God's presence. Pressure is a strange gift. It doesn't feel like a blessing when you're in it. In fact, it often feels like chaos. Like you're being pulled in 10 different directions. Like you're losing control. Like everything that used to work suddenly isn't working anymore. But that's not God abandoning you. That's Him refining you, molding you, reshaping what you thought you knew so He can reveal something deeper. We want clarity. You'll never discover your full strength and comfort. It's pressure that builds endurance. It's pressure that forces you to rely on something greater than yourself. When everything is easy, you might lean on your own understanding. But when the pressure hits, when your plans collapse, when your heart breaks, when your resources dry up, that's when you find out what you're really standing on. And that's when God shows you who He really is. We want clarity. Pressure doesn't mean you're outside of God's will. In fact, it often means you're right in the center of it. The enemy wants you to believe that the pressure is proof you failed, that God has left you, that nothing good can come from your current situation. But God says otherwise. He says, I am doing something in you through this. He's using the weight to make you wiser. He's using the tension to teach you trust. He's using the discomfort to direct you toward destiny. Remember Moses. Before he became the leader of a nation, he faced intense pressure. From rejection, from failure, from fear. He ran from Egypt. He hid in the wilderness. But it was in that wilderness, in that hidden place under pressure, where God spoke. Where the burning bush ignited a purpose that had been buried beneath the weight of past mistakes. Pressure doesn't disqualify you. It reveals the assignment that's been waiting to emerge. Some of the most powerful people in the Bible were forged in fire. David was anointed, but had to endure years of running from Saul before he wore the crown. Esther had to risk everything to walk in her calling. Jesus himself felt pressure so great in Gethsemane that he sweat drops of blood. And yet through that pressure came redemption, salvation, glory. So why do we think pressure means we're failing? Maybe it means we're being formed. Maybe God is taking us through a process that will make us more useful, more grounded, more anointed than we ever imagined. Maybe the pressure is producing something eternal in us, something that comfort could never create. The enemy wants the pressure to break you, but God is using it to build you. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every tear cried in silence, none of it is wasted. The pressure is not to crush your spirit, but to crush your pride, to crush your self-reliance, to bring you to a place where you can finally say, God, I need you more than I need answers. You see, purpose isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. And becoming often requires pressure. You're being stretched, shaped, and set apart. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. God knows what's ahead of you, and He's strengthening you now so you can carry it when it comes. The pressure you feel today is tied to the promise God has placed on your life. You don't get the oil without the press. You don't get the testimony without the test. You don't get the impact without the inner work. And that inner work, it's happening right now. In the tension, in the waiting, in the silence. He's doing something in you that others won't see until later. But you'll know. You'll look back and realize that the pressure didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to admit that the pressure is heavy. But don't run from it. Don't waste it. Lean into it. Let God use it. Because the same God who allowed the pressure is the same God who's providing the grace to withstand it. You won't be in this place forever. But while you're here, trust that something is being birthed. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. Vessels are shaped on the wheel. And your purpose is being revealed in the press. So don't fear the pressure. Embrace it. God is hiding something inside of it that will bless not only you, but everyone connected to you. This is not the end of you. It's the unveiling of you. The pressure is not random. It's divine. Want clarity. Delay is not denial. It's divine alignment. That's a truth that can carry you when everything around you feels like it's standing still. When doors don't open. When prayers go unanswered. When everyone else seems to be moving forward while you feel stuck in the same place. It's easy to assume that if it hasn't happened yet, it's never going to. But with God, timing is everything. And just because it hasn't come to pass yet doesn't mean it never will. God's delays are never random. They are always calculated, always purposeful. You might think the waiting is wasted time, but heaven doesn't see it that way. What you call delay, God calls preparation. We want clarity. Because He's not just interested in giving you the blessing. He's focused on making sure you're ready to carry it when it comes. Sometimes the delay is not about the promise. It's about the person. You. God is aligning things not just around you, but inside you. We want clarity. He's growing your character to match your calling. He's strengthening your faith to handle the future. He's pruning away everything that would poison the promise if it came too soon. You see, blessings released prematurely can become burdens. If God gave you everything you asked for right now, it might crush you instead of bless you. So he waits, not because he's forgotten you, not because he's ignoring you, but because he's aligning every piece of your life for maximum impact. Look at the life of Abraham. God promised him a son, but the fulfillment of that promise didn't come immediately. It came after years of waiting, years of silence, frustration, confusion. And yet God's word never failed. It came in the perfect time, not Abraham's time. And in the waiting, Abraham learned to trust. He grew in faith. He walked with God not because he understood the timeline, but because he believed the promise. Delay doesn't mean God has changed his mind. His promises are not fragile. They're not based on your performance. They're rooted in his unshakable character. If he said it, he will do it. But he will do it when the time is right. And until then, he's aligning everything. Your heart, your surroundings, your purpose. So that when it arrives, it fits perfectly. Sometimes delay is divine protection. You're praying for something, begging God to make it happen. And he's saying, not yet, because he sees what you don't. He sees the danger on the other side of that open door. He sees the storm that would have hit your life if he answered too soon. So instead of giving you what you want, he gives you what you need. Time. Time to grow. Time to heal. Time to get ready. Other times, delay is about divine positioning. God is moving people, shifting circumstances. We want clarity. Aligning opportunities that are tied to your breakthrough. It's not that the promise isn't real. It's that the scene isn't set. Like a stage being prepared for the main act, God is arranging everything behind the curtain of your life. And when the time is right, we want clarity. The curtain will rise, and what you've been waiting for will step into view. Don't let delay make you doubt. That's what the enemy wants. He wants to use the silence to sabotage your faith. He whispers least. God forgot about you. You're not worthy. You missed your chance. But the devil is a liar. God hasn't forgotten you. In fact, we want clarity. The delay is a sign that he's deeply invested in your future. He's not rushing it because he loves you too much to give you something half-formed. During the delay, your posture matters. Will you wait in frustration or wait in faith? Will you complain or will you worship? Will you quit or will you prepare? Because how you wait can either build you or break you. The delay is not just about endurance. It's about transformation. God is using this time to mold you into the version of yourself that can handle what's coming. Look at David. He was anointed as king, but didn't take the throne for years. He spent that time in caves, running, hiding, surviving. But in that season, God was aligning his heart. sharpening his leadership and forging a warrior who could one day rule with wisdom. The delay wasn't denial, it was development. We want clarity. You might not understand why it's taking so long. You might be tired of waiting. But don't misinterpret God's silence as his absence. He's working. He's working. He's aligning. Just because you don't see the evidence yet doesn't mean the promise is gone. Seeds don't sprout the moment they hit the soil. They grow in silence under the surface, hidden from view. But in the right season, they break through. And so will you. There's a divine rhythm to your life. God knows when to open doors and when to close them. He knows when to speak and when to stay silent. He knows when to send the breakthrough and when to hold it back just a little longer. Trust his timing. Even when it hurts. Even when it confuses you. Even when it feels like everyone else is getting blessed but you. Delay is not a curse. It's a setup. God is aligning your steps with his plan. He's aligning your mind with his purpose. He's aligning your heart with his timing. And when it all lines up, want clarity. The release will be greater than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. So keep walking. Keep believing. Keep showing up in faith. Your delay is not the end of your story. It's the pause before the promise. And when God moves, it will all make sense. What felt like a setback will prove to be divine strategy. What felt like silence will echo with glory. And what you thought was denial will be revealed as perfect alignment. Your breaking point is God's building ground. It's the place where you feel like you have nothing left. No strength, no answers, no hope. And yet that's where God begins to work in the most powerful way. We often think that hitting the bottom is the end, but in God's plan, it's the beginning of something holy. When everything falls apart, that's when God starts putting the real pieces together. When you've done everything you can, when you've prayed, fasted, cried, and fought, but still nothing changes, that's when you come face to face with surrender. And that surrender, that moment of letting go, is exactly what God has been waiting for. Your breaking point is not a sign of weakness. It's an invitation for God to take over. Sometimes we hold so tightly to our plans, our image, our expectations, that God has to allow them to break so he can build something better. He's not interested in patching up our lives with temporary fixes. He's interested in full transformation. And transformation starts when you reach the end of yourself. Think about Jacob. He wrestled with God all night. He was tired. He was broken. And in that moment, right there in his exhaustion, right there in his limp, God changed his name, changed his identity. Jacob the deceiver became Israel, the one who wrestles with God and prevails. That didn't happen when he was at his strongest. It happened when he was at his breaking point. Your breaking point is sacred. It's where pride dies. It's where ego gets stripped away. It's where your fake smile fades and the real cry of your heart is heard in heaven. It's where the masks fall off and God meets you in raw, vulnerable truth. And it's in that truth, in that brokenness, that healing begins. We live in a world that celebrates strength, perfection, image. But God's kingdom operates differently. He builds with broken things. He anoints the least likely. He uses what the world throws away. The stone that the builders rejected became the cornerstone. The woman at the well, ashamed and cast aside, became the first evangelist. Peter, who denied Christ, became the rock upon which the church was built. Again and again, God takes people at their lowest and uses them to do His greatest work. Maybe you feel like everything in your life is collapsing. The weight is too much. The storm is too fierce. You feel like you're about to break. Or maybe you already have. But can I tell you something? God does His best work with broken pieces. He's not intimidated by your mess. He's not disappointed in your weakness. He's drawn to it. He's close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those crushed in spirit. When a building collapses, engineers go in to find the foundation. If the foundation is still intact, they can rebuild. And in your life, God is the foundation that cannot be shaken. Even when everything else falls down, if you're rooted in Him, you're not finished. You're just being rebuilt. He is the master architect. He knows how to restore what's been shattered. And He's not just putting it back the way it was. He's making it stronger, deeper, unshakable. The enemy wants you to believe that this breaking point is proof God abandoned you, that the pain means you're done, that the failure disqualifies you. But those are lies. The breaking point is not a tomb, it's a womb. Something new is being born in you, strength you never knew you had. Faith that's not based on feelings, but forged in fire. Wisdom that only comes through experience. Compassion birthed through your own suffering. God doesn't break you to harm you. He breaks you to bless you. Like the 5 loaves and 2 fish. They weren't multiplied until they were broken. The same is true for you. There is a multiplication, a divine expansion that happens after the breaking. What looks like decrease is actually making room for more. Jesus Himself was broken for us. On the cross, at His weakest moment, He accomplished the greatest victory. That's the pattern of the kingdom death before resurrection. Pain before purpose, breaking before blessing. So if you're in the breaking right now, don't despair. You're on the edge of something powerful. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel weak. It's okay to not have it all together. That doesn't disqualify you. It prepares you. God isn't asking for perfection. He's asking for surrender. He's asking for your heart, just as it is. You don't have to fix yourself to come to Him. Just come broken. Come tired. Come confused. He'll meet you right there. That's what grace is for. You're not alone in this breaking. God is with you. And He's not just watching from a distance. He's in it with you, holding you, carrying you, whispering to your soul, you will rise again. What you thought would end you will become the very thing God uses to launch you. What felt like a breakdown will become your breakthrough. There is beauty coming from these ashes. There is glory hidden in this pain. Your breaking point is the soil for your next season. Trust that what feels like the end is actually the beginning. God is building something in you, through you, beyond you. So don't run from the breaking. Embrace it. Let God do the work. Let Him remove what can't go with you into your future. Let Him rebuild your life on a foundation that storms can't shake. Because when you rise, and you will rise, it will be with greater power, greater purpose, and greater praise. This breaking is not your destruction. It's your construction. And when God builds you back, nothing and no one will be able to tear you down again. What you survive prepares you for what you're called to. Every trial, every heartache, every sleepless night, none of it is wasted. The pain you endured, the valleys you walked through, the seasons of silence, confusion, and loss, all of it was preparation. You may not have seen it at the time, but God was working even in the darkness. Every scar tells a story, and those stories are shaping you into someone ready for a greater purpose. When you look back on your life, some of the most defining moments weren't the victories. They were the battles. The seasons where you didn't think you would make it, but you did. The days where you wanted to give up, but you pressed on. The nights when you cried alone, but still got up the next morning. That's not just survival. That's divine conditioning. God has been training you, molding you, and shaping you for something bigger than you can currently imagine. Purpose isn't born in ease. It's born in adversity. Your calling doesn't just show up wrapped in comfort and clarity. It rises through pressure, confusion, and perseverance. The very things you thought were setbacks were actually setups. The trauma, the betrayal, the rejection, they were all tools in God's hands, because the weight of your calling requires the strength of your story. David didn't face Goliath as his first fight. He had already survived battles with lions and bears in secret. That private survival prepared him for public purpose. And you too have survived some things that no one knows about. Silent battles, private wars. But what you survived in silence, God will use to speak through you in power. Your survival wasn't pointless. It was prophetic. It positioned you to stand with authority, to lead with empathy, to speak with wisdom. Some people want the platform without the pain. They want the influence without the endurance. But true purpose is forged in fire. And if you've been through fire, you carry something others don't. Resilience, insight, strength. You know what it means to bleed and still believe. To be knocked down and still trust. That kind of faith can't be taught. It's lived. And it's exactly what God uses when He calls you into destiny. Think about Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, wrongly imprisoned. He could have let bitterness destroy him, but instead, he held on to God. And by the time the dream was fulfilled, by the time he stood in Pharaoh's palace, he had the wisdom, the humility, and the strength that only survival could produce. He even said to his brothers, "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." That's the kind of revelation that only comes from walking through pain and realizing it was preparing you all along. You didn't survive by accident. God sustained you. He protected you even when you didn't realize it. There were moments where you thought it was over. Moments where your heart was shattered. Moments where the weight of it all felt too much. But here you are, not perfect, not untouched, but alive. And that survival is a testimony. It's a weapon. It's proof that purpose is still alive in you. Every struggle deepens your capacity. Every loss expands your compassion. Every hardship trains your endurance. And every single survival adds a layer of strength that you didn't have before. So don't despise the seasons that nearly broke you. Those seasons built you. They equipped you. They gave you tools you'll need when you step into your assignment. You see, God doesn't call the untested. He doesn't promote without preparation. Before elevation, there's always education. And in the kingdom, much of that education comes through experience. Real, raw, painful experience. Because God isn't just concerned with where He's taken you. He's concerned with who you'll be when you get there. And survival builds substance. When you walk into your calling, you'll recognize the familiar pressure because you've been trained in it. When you're faced with obstacles, you won't panic because you've overcome worse. When you're handed influence, you'll handle it with integrity because you know what it cost you to get there. That's what survival does. It builds wisdom, empathy, and responsibility. Don't minimize what you've come through. It matters. Your story matters. Not because it makes you special, but because it makes you usable. God doesn't use the polished version of you. He uses the surrendered version, the one that's been through pain and came out with praise. The one that's been broken and still believes. That kind of vessel carries weight. It carries anointing. It carries heaven's authority. So stop apologizing for what you've been through. Stop hiding the parts of your story that are marked with struggle. Because that's the very soil where your purpose is planted. God uses the whole story. The ugly parts, the broken parts, the painful parts, and He weaves them into something powerful, something redemptive, something eternal. You're not just a survivor. You're a steward of what survival taught you. Your calling is not just about you. It's about the people who need what your survival produced. Someone needs your testimony. Someone needs your wisdom. Someone needs to see that survival is possible, and you're living proof. God never wastes a wound. What you survived has qualified you to speak, to lead, to lift others out of the same pit you once crawled through. Your scars are not shameful. They're sacred. They are markers of where God met you, healed you, and prepared you. And now, you carry a power that only survivors possess. So when the enemy tries to use your past against you, remind him, what I survived is exactly what makes me strong. What tried to kill me, God used to call me. My survival wasn't the end of my story. It was the doorway into destiny. And I'm just getting started. So now you know, the pain wasn't pointless. The pressure wasn't random. The delay wasn't denial. The breaking wasn't the end. And your survival, it was never just about making it through. It was preparation for what's coming next. God has been with you in every silent moment, in every tear you cried in secret, in every door that closed and every prayer that seemed unanswered. He wasn't ignoring you. He was aligning you, shaping you, building you. Because what's ahead of you requires a version of you that didn't exist before the storm. Don't let your current pain blind you to the promise. Don't let the waiting make you forget the word. You were never forsaken. You were being formed. Heaven was setting you up for something that eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, and minds haven't imagined. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not disqualified. You are positioned. And when God says it's time, no devil in hell, no voice in your past, no circumstance in your present can stop what He's about to release in your life. So rise up from that pain, shake off the lies, stand in the truth. God's plan is bigger than your heartbreak, your failure, your loss, and your fear. What felt like the end is actually the beginning. This is your season of alignment, your season of awakening, your season of breakthrough. And no matter what you've been through, remember this: you were built to survive the pain because you were chosen to carry the purpose. Now go forward, not in fear, but in faith, because God's plan for your life is still unfolding, and it's greater than you ever imagined.